technical marketing consultant for Remedyforce. Today the session is going to be around how to use Remedyforce for proactively discovering and managing your assets. You're going to be muted during the session. After the session, there's going to be possibility to Q&A as well. The session will be brought by Joel Jacks, who is part of the technical marketing team, and he has been involved in ITSM for about 15 years, so he's what you can call a kind of an expert. He's with BMC for almost 4 years, and he works with client management, discovery, and Remedyforce. He's responsible for global enablement for these supported products. At this time, I would like to hand the stage to Joel.
Thanks, Olivier. So again, my name is Joel Jacks. Working here today with the Remedyforce Discovery tool and walking you guys through some of the features of it, the benefits, and some of the things that you'll be able to recognize in your environment when you leverage this tool within Remedyforce. So what I'd like to do today is share the agenda of what we're going to talk about in the next few minutes, give you an overview of Remedyforce and what Remedyforce is, the discovery tool, kind of how it came about. Then we'll talk about doing discovery in your environment and what it comprises, some of the benefits you can get from that, how easy it is to set up. We'll talk about automation and how automation can really help you realize what you need to do within your organization to be able to be a proactive service desk and proactive in the things that you're going to do within your environment. And then we'll talk about the CMDB and how the discovery ties in with the CMDB and how you can leverage the CMDB within Remedyforce to really drive some of this information out that you need as far as changes go. What are the impacts of some of these changes that we do? And then we'll have questions, but feel free to text any questions that you may have during the presentation. Just in the chat window, send those, and we'll respond to those as well. So BMC Remedyforce versus other ITSM products. Why Remedyforce? And we believe we're not just different, but we're better. And there's many reasons that we think the Remedyforce is heads and shoulders above the other products out there. That we have one of the fastest time to values and the lowest total cost of ownership of any major vendor. A lot of our customers will, purchase Remedyforce, they'll get their subscriptions, and within a day they're putting incidents in, they're managing their IT service management portfolio. 92% of our customers intend to renew, which is a pretty high rate. That means these are satisfied customers, happy with what we're doing here. And then over 100 of our releases every 2 years, or sorry, every 6 months, twice a year. These enhancements come from what you customers are asking, what you're experiencing within our product. These are the things that we're putting within our releases. So we do a winter release and a summer release. So our summer release just came out, and we're working now on our winter release. We do have a dedicated customer success program, so we really want to make sure that you guys will succeed and that you'll be able to use Remedyforce. That's why we have such a high renewal rate. And we also offer free training and technical resources. A lot of products out there, you'll buy their product, but now you have to go through additional training and additional resources in order to be able to use the product, and we don't feel like you need to do that with Remedyforce. We offer you that ability to do that. So Remedyforce Client Management, we came out with about 2 years ago, and what this does is it goes beyond just discovery and gives you a way to automate the system administration and support functions within your environment that are usually done manually, especially within the client management side. We find a lot of customers out there who are very intensely doing ththings manually, as far as being able to push out software, to be able to gather information from their systems in the, the desktops, the laptops, the tablets, gathering that information in. And we believe that Remedyforce is the #1 choice for ITSM because We empower you to be proactive, to be able to know what you have and know where it's at, and be able to do things like, push software, push patches, be able to look at the hardware inventory, be able to look at the security settings and manage those. Increase your first call resolution rates, and reduce support time calls. These are things that really impact their service desk and the cost that is associated there. And really, one of the key things is being able to automate and reduce support calls. So if you can reduce the calls, you can make your customers more empowered to, go into your service catalog to fix or to request the software and to get that given to them automatically if it's approved, when it's approved, not having to create another ticket for your software delivery team to deliver that software, or even commonly created support calls that you may have in your environment, disk space that gets eaten up, or processes that are running awry, things that they would normally call the help desk. If you can automate those and give those what we call operational rules that they can leverage, it can really reduce those support calls down. So when you purchase Remedyforce, you get our agentless discovery for free. It's not something you have to buy additionally. It's something you configure right within within the administration screen. We'll show you that here in a minute. But what this discovery does is it allows you to see the device type, the operating system, hardware configuration, so hard drives, attached printers, attached monitors, see all that information, as well as see relationships, basic level relationships between your devices, and installed software. If you want to go beyond that, we give you the ability to do that with Premium. So this installs an agent on the machines, and what that agent allows us to do is things like remote management. So no matter where they're at within the in the world, as long as they have an internet connection, you can remotely manage them. You can push software to them. You can take remote control of their device. You can change their files, all in a very secure network. We also have a thing we call compliance management. So if there are certain industry standards that you have to adhere to within your organization, ISO 20,000, 27,000, PCI, HIPAA, different compliance protocols, we can help you manage those with our Premium. And Premium Plus takes it a step beyond that, so you get everything that we've just talked about, plus you get patch management, so you get the ability to patch these devices. Not only just the software, but the operating system patches as well, and not just Windows, but we're talking about being able to leverage the Mac and Unix or Linux patches as well. And we have deployment management as well, so you can deploy to your systems. You can deploy the software. You can deploy operating systems to those. So we think that combined, this makes Remedyforce better because it's a very secure environment. It's built on the Salesforce.com platform, so it's scalable and it's reliable. We do, like I mentioned, we do two upgrades a year, winter and summer, and these are very seamless upgrades, very easy to put into place. You can almost, I tell people, you can almost one day just say, hey, just put it in, and it's in. You go to sleep one night and you're on the previous release, and the next morning you're ready to go on the next release. It's really that easy to use. And coming from working with ITSM products for 15 years, I can tell you that was one of the biggest headaches that I had as trying to get these upgrades rolled out with other products. Is sometimes it was weeks or months, or in one of the case of one of the products, it was actually years because of how the upgrades were. Ours are very seamless and easy to leverage. So we talked about what's included in client discovery, the device type, hardware configuration, relationships, and installed software. But one of the things to understand is that this integrated discovery solution gives you the best user experience, not only for the agents and the people who use IT, but the people in IT as well. So your customers and your agents both get a very cohesive, very easy to use, fluid interaction within Remedyforce. But this cloud-based solution gives you the ability to see your full environment. Whether you're in one location or many locations, you can see everything in your environment, all your client devices and all of your applications. And the nice thing about what we offer is with the, the base, the premium and premium plus, is we give you a flexible approach. We don't assume that you're 100% mature and ready to take the whole product, but as you grow, as you're ready to take those different steps towards your client management, we give this flexible approach so that you can purchase those modules and upgrade as you need to. So like I said, Discovery is available now within your Remedyforce subscription. It's easy to set up, and basically we go in there, we're going to configure some remote sites and a remote site and some different settings in there, maybe define some network ports that it can talk to. But what it does is now allows you to leverage our cloud offering. You install the scanner locally, and we can do a scan of your physical devices and virtual devices wherever they're at. You don't need to install an agent, and we'll talk about some of those things that we can do with agentless as opposed to with the agent installed. But the steps is we enable discovery in the VMC Remedyforce. You request the discovery server. You install a scanner, you can configure the scans, and then you can configure an import. So not only can we scan all this information, but now you can take that information and put it into your CMDB so you can make some clear and great decisions based off of the information that is available. You'll be able to see this, what your applications are, what your business services are, the servers, the desktops that are running that, so you can make change management decisions that are based off of actual information. And one of the nice things about this is it's configured so that you can run the scan as often as you need to. One thing I like to tell people is if you're doing this manually now in an Excel spreadsheet or in manually putting this information in the database, when is that information out of date? And the information is usually out of date when you hit save because, somebody's installed a new piece of software already, or they've moved a computer, or computer's retired, or a new device has come online. So if you don't have something automatically, discovering in your environment and updating your CMDB, then your information is out of date. And of course, the longer it takes for somebody to update that, the worse the information gets. If we can do what we do with the discovery, where we enable that scan to happen on a weekly, monthly basis, whatever works within your organization, a daily basis if it needs to be, you can be confident that that information is up to date and ready to go. And the nice thing about this is we don't require Pentaho. Previous versions did require that. So here I am within the Remedyforce application. It's a matter of just going into the administration tab, clicking on our configure the CMDB 2.0 and selecting discovery setup and configuration. And within there, you'll be able to identify a local scanner. So we do need to install a little piece of software on a local device. It could be a Windows or a Linux device. And the scanner just needs to be something that is accessible so that we can, access it from our cloud system, but it also has to be able to scan within your physical environment those devices. You can do multiple scanners. It's up to you. I believe we can allow you up to 29 scanners. And you can also configure which ports it communicates on. So if you already have a port that's opened that you want to allow us to leverage, you can configure those as well. Then once you've configured the scanner, the local scanner, the more information you can provide us for, we have Windows information, and we'll do WMI and SMB scanning. If you want to do Linux and Mac, which is included as well, just provide those credentials here, and you'll get more robust information available that comes through on the scans. And then you can schedule your scans. We have it do it one time, but you can recur. You can have the recurrence, daily. It just really depends on how up to date the information is that you want to see in your organization. So very, very easy to set up. It's just a couple of steps and you're good to go. So once you've done discovery, once you've seen what's in your environment, you may want to be able to do different things that go beyond just discovery. You may want to be able to do the remote management or the patch management that we talk about. So once you're ready, so like we said, an agentless discovery, it's unlimited in your environment. Premium is where you start paying for some of the different availability or different options that are available within there. So once we've done the discovery, some of the things that you can do are go to the Remedyforce Premium. Premium gives you remote management. So remote management is the ability to take remote control of a device, or to be able to do things we'll go through here in a minute is what we call our direct access tools. So be able to look at the processes running, download the event logs, look at their file system, look at the registry. And these are things that don't require remote control. You can do, as an agent, you could do it behind the scenes. And then our Client Management Premium Plus, deployment management, so being able to deploy software and deploy the patches to these devices. This is what we give you when you install the agent. So one of the benefits of the agent is we can also give you security inventory. So that's the antivirus and the firewall. We can tell you, are they running? Are they updated? We can now start doing operational rules to make sure that like the firewall is enabled and it's running. You can do custom inventory. So if there's custom inventory that you have that you need to define within your organization, this is what the agent allows you to leverage. We give you connectivity inventory, so this is the links between your routers, your switches, your hubs, those different devices, the Wi-Fi's. We give you that connectivity inventory. Plus, we give you power management inventory as well with the agent base. So this is things like, when does the screen get locked? When do the hard drives spin down? When does the screen turn off? And our patch inventory, so installed, missing patches, service packs, those things that we need in our environment to work, and the software request and deployment. So I include this little diagram here to show you how it works. So everything that we're talking about as far as the decision making, as where the data is stored, is in the cloud. The Remedyforce directory server is in the VMC cloud, and so the first thing we do is we put a scanner. So you put a scanner wherever you feel there's a physical separation or a design that limits that scanner to work. So for instance, let's say I'm at an office with 4 locations. I probably put a scanner in each one of those locations like we have here, and that scanner will scan all those devices, send that information to our Remedyforce server, and then that's where that information resides. So the scanner does not have to be a dedicated device, by the way. It can be, like I said, Windows, Linux device. It could be the receptionist computer or a print server, or something that's just, there's not a lot of information that goes between the scanner to the Remedyforce directory servers. All right, so what do we get with automation? So with automation, we're really increasing your customer satisfaction. So one of the things we're talking about here is being able to provide automated software deployment, whether it requires approval or if it's an automated install. So within our self-service console, we have request a copy of AutoCAD 2015. So it's simply a matter of going here into the self-service portal, clicking on requesting a copy of that. You can see that the request is already filled out for me. We can see that it's a $5,000 or $4,999, so it probably requires approval. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and hit submit on that approval. And what's going to happen now is the approval routing is going to happen. So let's say my boss has to approve it. And so my boss, once they approve it, if there's any other approvals that need to happen, they'll be taken care of. Now I can see that the request has been submitted. So within that request now, once the approvals have all happened, it will reach out to our client management side, and it'll automatically install that AutoCAD onto my system once those approvals have taken. If we have another piece of software that doesn't require approvals, let's say we have Adobe Reader, something that we want to install, we could go here, put it into the service request, click on that request, and it'll automatically start installing. So no other ticket has to be created for our software deployment group. We don't have to put in any other requests. I don't have to send my software technicians out with the USB or the DVD to install it. We've already packaged that within the client management tool and sent that out. So it really increases customer satisfaction. In fact, we've seen with one customer that they got a comment back from their user base that said, "Wow, this is really fast. I submitted the request for Adobe Reader, and by the time I exited out of the self-service catalog, I looked on my desktop and there it was. It was already installed and running and ready to go." So taking the automation then from the end user, let's talk about the IT users, the person that's going, our support team that's actually going to be within using the tool. So we give them a broad range of tools. We've talked about remote control. We've talked about software delivery and patch management. But what this does is allows the IT support team to quickly and easily perform tasks which they would otherwise require effort or time. So this, of course, allows them to be more efficient, more effective, and use of their time. One of the things that we've seen, though, is the service desk commonly spends about 80% of their time and their efforts on 20% of the issues. So these are usually, initiated manually with the service desk team, and so they're spending a lot of their time on these low-value, repetitive activities. So what we try to do is move those activities into this Remedyforce Client Management so that those activities can be done either automatically or the user can request that they be done without having to pick up the phone and call into our service desk and have them create a ticket. We've talked about some of this information, how it's expanded. We've talked about file transfer. So it's very easy for our agent to access this when they're in and creating a ticket. So if I could just go ahead and click on New to create a new ticket. We'll type in a name here, Emma, and we'll just use our general template. Okay, so what we've done is, because this is associated now with our client management, I can just start typing in the computer name. I know it's Win 2008 that they're talking about, so I pull that in there. And right now, within this ticket, I can see, as the agent, I can see different information. So I can see the description of the device, its instance ID, serial number, class, just basic information about that. Once I save the ticket, some more tools become available for me. So if I click on my agent tools and I go into my CMDB actions, it will pull up the device that I've defined within the ticket, and these actions are available to me. So you can see I don't have to open up a second, product. I'm not having to open up an integrated product. This is all within the client management, or within Remedyforce Client Management. You don't have to spend a lot of time training and getting your agents up to speed on how to use this. It's very simple and very intuitive on how to use. So here on the actions, I could look at the inventory summary. So this is our base inventory, or this is the basic inventory that comes available. I can see the hardware that's installed. I can see, with the disk size, the partition size, the monitor, I can see what's installed. But I can look at the software too. So this is what sets us apart from other client management tools as well. For instance, Microsoft SCCM looks at just the add remove programs, right? And it's only going to do Windows products too that you can do the management on. We look at not only the add remove programs, but we look in the registry as well to look at and match up all the different software that could be installed. So you're going to see a lot more software here that's installed than software that is available through other client management products. What this allows you to do is be confident in so we have license units, so we can actually associate software licensing to some of this, and as well as some financial information, and the different security as well. So security comes with our broader premium, but to be able to look at those security products that are installed, and do we need to install? Do they need to be updated? But the other actions I could take right here is I could take remote control. And now the nice thing about remote control is no matter where the system is, as long as it's online, they don't have to be at VPN'd in at our corporate site, but they could be at a Starbucks down the street. They could be wherever they have the internet. We can take remote control and help our customers out. One of the biggest ticket issues that I see within our organizations that we talk with is that they have, if they have VPN, that's one of the biggest calls that they get for, is my VPN's down. And usually it requires us to be able to transfer a file over, or to be able to take information or transfer information. If they don't have access to the VPN, we can't do that. We have to wait till they come into a corporate site to be able to fix their issue. So with us not requiring that VPN, we have more flexibility and more capabilities to be able to resolve issues. So you can see here I have my client management. We can go ahead and take care of their issues here in the remote desktop side. Some other of our actions here are the ability to look at the processes. So if we have a process that we know that goes crazy, we can go in there. We can look at the process here, take care of it. We could terminate the process. We could run a new process if we need to. These are all currently running processes on this machine. Other actions we can take, like I said, we do file transfers. We could look at the Windows events. Look at the registry. We make changes to the registry right now, and again, we're not having to remote in. We're not having to disrupt our end users from doing what they need to do on their machine. So a lot of flexibility for the user, your IT users, to be able to get their job done, have little to no impact on the end user. So associated with that then is not only being able to do these things, like I said, on the agent side, but to leverage things that we call operational rules. So within our operational rules, we can automatically open and close tickets, so that ticket for installing AutoCAD is automatically closed once we install that, and nobody else has to touch it. But there's other things that we could do as far as opening and closing of tickets, is we can, if we resolve issues. So some of the issues that we've seen that we've automated within client management is to be able to do things like low hard drive. So when we're not a monitoring software, but when the agent runs, we're able to look at the hard drive and say, hey, this hard drive has less than 10 gigabytes available. We can automatically go into certain directories that we know that may need to be flushed out, or caches that can be cleared, and we can automatically create a ticket, clean those files out, and once we've freed up to another 10 gigabytes or so, we can automatically close that ticket. If it's not something we can resolve, then we can automatically associate and assign that ticket to the right group that can go ahead and start taking a look. Hey, do we need to replace our hard drive out? Do we need to do different things like that? Or being able to prevent applications from running. You can block certain applications out altogether. So, these file sharing, the peer-to-peer, the BitTorrents and things like that, You can prevent those applications from running, and then you can actually schedule when applications can run. So if you have an application like a reporting application that goes against a production database, so you have Boxy or Jaspersoft, you can actually prevent those applications from running unless it's in a certain schedule. So Monday is the sales group when they can do reporting, Tuesday is when HR can do their reporting, and Wednesday and vice versa, and so on, so that they can actually leverage the application when you want them to, and you don't have to worry about that. And one of the other things we can do with automation is we can do software auto healing. So that AutoCAD that we pushed out, that we put within on that device, we can say, there's certain files that if they get changed, if somebody is deleting files out, if they're trying to free up space, that we can actually put in there that it automatically heals that, and we can create a ticket that will put that on there for us. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of these within the Client Management Console, some of these operational rules and how easy they are to create and make available. So these operational rules you can make available to the agent only, or you can make these operational rules available to the agent and to the user so that the user can leverage it and take care of their own issues. In fact, I just saw in Gartner 56% of end users would prefer to fix their own issues. So that's increasing customer satisfaction and adoption of your self-service. So we go into our wizards. This is to show you how easy it is to use our tool too. Again, we give you a lot of training, we give you a lot of help on how to do this, but our operational rule creation. So we can say delete process or stop our process. But it's that easy to go in and then identify the steps that you need to identify the process. So we actually have all of these different steps that we've talked about already created in a rule for you. So you don't need to know any scripting, you don't need to know any special language. So we could check a running process, so I could have it check for a certain process that's running. We'll call it, we'll make up my process.exe. And then if it's running, we can end that process. And my process exe. So it's that simple. We've added those two steps in, and now we've created an operational rule that we can now make available in the self-service catalog, so that they can leverage that and start pushing those operational rules out to themselves. So a lot of flexibility in our operational rules, a lot of capabilities in there. One of the things I suggest to our customers that are starting to use our client management is to look at your top 10, top 15 most reported incidents and see if there's not a procedural or process way that we can go in and create a rule or an operational rule that will resolve that for the end user. If you create that and put that here in Remedyforce, so the agent can leverage that and push that operational rule out, you're making their job a lot easier, a lot quicker. Plus, you're also ensuring that, extra steps aren't being added, that there aren't steps that are being missed that could cause issues along the way. You're making sure that it's a process that is repeatable and that you guys have control of from beginning to end. And then the second part that I want to talk about is patching. So 80% of our data breaches exploit known vulnerabilities. These are vulnerabilities that have been identified. So we know what happens on Tuesdays. Microsoft releases patches once a month on Patch Tuesday. And what happens on the Wednesday after is all these hackers now start looking at these vulnerabilities and how they can exploit those and how they can leverage those. So we have the vulnerabilities like WannaCry that came out in March of this year, and May is when the vulnerability actually became a threat, because that's when somebody released an exploit of that vulnerability. So it's important to be up to date on patches. But again, Microsoft SCCM, the free version, only includes patching for Windows and Microsoft products. There's hundreds of other products out there that the Adobes, the Javas, all these other products that we could have in our environment that we have to pay additional for Microsoft SCCM to patch, that we can patch with the Remedyforce Client Management side of that. So 99.9% of these vulnerabilities have had a patch for over a year. I talked about WannaCry, that was 3 months. But these have a patch available for over a year. So if you're not patching your systems, then you're not making sure that your environment is secure. And I use a Mac product right now, but I remember when I get those notifications, I was usually right in the middle of something, and so I would say do it later. I would hit wait until I have time, and usually I wouldn't ever really put on those patches. So if you're depending on your users to update themselves, then there's a lot of in my mind, there's a lot of vulnerabilities. There's a lot of risk there because you're not sure if they're putting it on. If you're depending on your IT staff to do it, then they're having to go around. They're spending a lot of time putting on patches. So patching, we're finding, is even more and more critical within environments to be able to leverage and to be able to make sure that they're timely patched. Because this last bullet point says something as simple as timely patching could have blocked 78% of internal vulnerabilities. And the same goes for external security holes. So if you're not patching, if you don't know what patches are available in your environment and not doing it automatically, then you're missing out on a lot of protections that are available. So if we go back into the client management side of things, let's cancel this. Our patch management. So our patch management, we have, it's very easy to configure your patch management to check on a daily basis. So this updates itself every day, and we make sure we have the latest patches. Again, not just patches from Microsoft, but all the available patches out there for all the products within our environment. The Adobes, the things like that. And we can set up patch jobs within this to do the patching. So very easy to set up a patch job. And one of the reasons I'd like to show this is to show you all the different products out there that have patches available. So we can automatically detect, are they critical, are they important, are they moderate, and we can patch only certain products. So 7-zip, Acrobat, Apache, there's the AutoCAD that we already installed. Different products here. You can see the list goes on and on. We have the Microsoft products in here as well. So we got Microsoft here. We got Windows. But things as simple as WinZip. I bet you guys didn't realize that WinZip a few years ago had a vulnerability that needed to be patched. And if you're not leveraging that, if you're not making sure they're patched, how do you know that that's happening? But the nice thing about this is let's see, we'll select WinZip, is if you have a change management window, so if it's, the fourth Friday of each month that systems can get patched, you can adhere your patching to go to those specific devices and to patch at that certain time. And you can wake up devices too, so if they happen to be turned off, we can wake those up as well. So we give you a lot of flexibility within patch management. One of the other things we can do within patch management is we can look at a group here and look at its inventory, and we can see what patches might be missing. So when I heard the WannaCry was available, or was out there for the MS-17, I could go through and I can see, hey, here's that MS-17, this one right here, that it's missing, the MS-1709, and right here I can go ahead and click on Fix. I don't have to go to any extra steps. I don't have to do any other configuration. It's already set up. We can finish, and it's going to patch that and put that on automatically. And we can do that to individual devices, or to whole groups, or the whole environment as well. So a lot of flexibility as far as patch management goes. One of the other things is, once we've done all our patching, once we've got everything up to date, we can update the CMDB. So the CMDB, again, is a part of Remedyforce, which comes in your base install. The nice thing about the CMDB is that this is where we can leverage direct access and actions within the CMDB. We don't have to go in through a ticket. We can view our CIs, but this is really giving us the ability to make really informed decisions on what we're trying to do within our organization. What the impact of doing a patch would be. If I patch a server to, that has our business process on it, our, exchange, what is that impact? Is that something that's going, could take down all of our email in the organization? Is there other steps I can take to mitigate that and taking care of that? So if we look at the CMDB, go in here real quick. So in here I can see all of my devices. I can see not only the devices, I can see the business services that they might be, so I can see my email. Within that I could see which servers support that. But even here, we give you the opportunity to be able to leverage some of those direct actions and those direct access tools that were available to the agent. Now, as the administrator, I have access to the inventory summary as well. I can take remote control of that machine. I can, look at its file system, run its services, transfer a file to it. We give you that flexibility to be able to make sure that you have that access within your CMDB, that you can see what's going on in that, you can make the decisions, and now you can schedule these operational rules to run, schedule patch management, install software. One of the things to really keep in mind here too is that with the CMDB that's integrated within Remedyforce, you can put in those custom attributes and those custom files or custom fields that are specific to your organization that other CMDBs don't offer you the ability to do. So a lot of flexibility here, a lot of capabilities within the CMDB. So we've kind of gone over, like I said, a broad level of what discovery can do. We can discover devices. One of the questions I do get asked is, can we limit the interaction between the scanner and the master server? Let's say I'm in a low bandwidth connection on my in my environment. They're on a 1 megabit connection. I don't want to impact their daily work. Yes, we can limit that interaction so that only when a certain amount of that bandwidth is available is the scanner talking back to the master server and transferring that data and that information over. But one of the nice things about that too is we can also push out patches. So when I talked about Patch Tuesday comes out, all of these individual systems are talking directly to Microsoft at the same time. That could kill out bandwidth. But leveraging our architecture, we can actually push those patches out to a relay server or to a local server, so that those local devices, those 20, 40, 100 PCs are pointing to that local device rather than going through the internet to get their individually to get the patches down. So we can really leverage and provide that flexibility within your system. So I'd like to open this up and see if there's any questions or anything we can help people out on.
Hey, Joel, we have one question from the audience from Yoma, saying they have a use case where customer needs to do discovery in a managed service environment, but due to conflict of interest, it's not possible to deploy agents nor getting master credentials to do discovery. Is there a way to get basic information, i.e. host name and OS, without agents and without credentials?
Sure. So I think what was being asked here is we do have, by the way, a lot of MSPs that leverage, the environment within the client management to be able to offer things like that. So we don't have to deploy an agent. We can do we can get basic information without an agent installed. as well without the credentials. So we could put a scanner in there. It could even be a temporary scanner. We could scan that information. We could pull that in, but understand that we're only going to get some basic information. So we'll probably get the machine name, the IP address, and its operating system. More in-depth information as far as the hardware and software installed, we do need the credentials in order to be able to pull that information back.
Yep. We have another question. Using the agentless base system, will it discover Cisco devices, switches, routers, etc.?
Yes, so we'll discover the devices. Again, more information, if you put the Nmap, the SMI, those different credentials in, we'll get more information. But yeah, I can show you here on a base discovery within our environment. Let's see, topology. We'll do a connectivity topology. So here's, I see an Iris switch. I see a 3300XM switch. So I'll be able to see the name, and I can see what ports are being used on those, but this is not to be managing those devices, right? That's something like SolarWinds are used to, but we can see that information.
We've got another question here about asking about the benefit of switching to this newer integration that doesn't require Pentaho, and what the benefits are, and I can answer that. I mean, the biggest benefit is obviously you don't have to install Pentaho and you don't have to worry about the various packages. That's all configurable within the Remedyforce admin UI. The one negative or the one limitation of the newer integration relative to Pentaho is that because we're using the API, we don't currently provide a mechanism to configure the mappings. So it's all out-of-the-box mappings to existing fields. To be able to add additional fields or change the field mappings is not available. It's something we're considering on the roadmap, but it is not available today. So that's really the main difference between the two.
So this is Jeff at GC.
Yep.
The question I have about this is more wrapped around the security side of it. Is it handled through permission set? Does the permission set go across the entire span of the CMDB and the discovery server? Or are there other small security components within it? Because obviously this is something that you don't want to open up to everybody.
Right. So as far as security goes, for instance, like taking remote control, we use self-signed certificates to establish that security and that connection back and forth. But then, like we leverage the PKI standard security between just communicating from the scanners to the master server. So I guess there's really two security components that are configured within that. But one of our largest customers is the U.S. federal government, and they would not, if they had any concerns about security, they wouldn't use our product. And one of the reasons they pick our product is because of our self-signed certificates and the security levels that we use to handle the information that's transferred back and forth.
Yeah, but don't you have to give a particular security level to get into the CMDB to utilize the tool?
So to leverage the CMDB, yeah, you can assign that a permission. You can assign a specific permission level to the agent that you have given access within Remedyforce, so that they're the only one who can see the CMDB. Yes. So not everybody who has agent access can access the CMDB within Remedyforce.
Okay.
There's one more question. I'm sorry, Joel. One more question about they're asking if antivirus is included.
So I'm not sure if this means do we do antivirus scanning, which we don't, but within our inventory that we gather, this agent-based inventory, I can tell you if there's like anti-malware, anti-phishing backup firewall, or if there is antivirus, if there's antivirus installed and if it's updated. So we can look at that and we can report that back. We can give you alerts on that if it's not installed or if it's not updated. We can actually create an operational rule that will tell that product to update itself. But so as far as BCM or the client management side, actually doing antivirus, no, but we validate and ensure that the antivirus is there and running and updated.
Great. I think we have time for one more question. I see Patrick has a question. Patrick, are you online?
Yeah, I'm going to ask it. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right. So my environment runs Client Manager. So we use Client Manager. So in our particular, would we have to redo the configuration items in CMDB, or would it pull it, or can we set it up that would pull it from our already customized Client Manager environment?
So are you using it on-premise or are you using a cloud?
On-premise. So we'd have to, we know we have to poke a hole for a firewall and give it an SSL certificate for client, or we refer to it as ASACORD. We've been with it so long, asacord.slchospital.org. We know that, but then in terms of like, I would prefer not to have reinvent the wheel with CMDB since I'm a one-man shop. And John, we met at the New York user meetup.
Okay. Good to hear you again.
So, John, I don't know if you want to take that or if you want me to take this one.
Yeah, so Patrick, so you say today you have BCM, right?
Yeah.
And you have Remedyforce in place, correct? Are you using
Correct.
the CMDB?
We're not, and
Okay.
we're not, and it's like I finally have time to actually do it, so we're not. And my whole point is I prefer to not have to reinvent the wheel with CMDB when I have, when they basically have cleaned up Client Manager to be used. So I didn't know if I had to recreate it again.
Yeah, no, you don't. And then there's a couple things here. One is since you're not using the CMDB, there's no issue with importing those discovered records into the CMDB. You won't have duplicates. But with our newer reconciliation that we've introduced in the current summer 17 release, even if you potentially already had records in that CMDB, you could define the rules to ensure you're updating versus creating duplicate records. So you're covering both scenarios.
Oh, okay, awesome. That's great. That makes me that just made me happy.
Good. So, Danny, you asked the question with regards to the discovery process. Can we run the process periodically? Yeah. So you can have it set up to run one time. You can set it up to run daily, weekly, or monthly. But what do you mean by is the process incremental?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
So basically what I meant is that when you run the scan, it's pulling, I believe what I read was that the initial scan is pretty small, but then the second one is pulling more data from the devices. So the question I had is if I run the first and second scan, let's say I run it weekly, this time I'm going to capture a set of devices. Next week, those devices are still going to be there, but the data is already in the CMDB. So does that mean that the scan is not as large the second or the subsequent times that I run it? Is that the way it works?
Precisely. So we're smart enough to realize, especially if it's agent-based, we only pull what's delta, what's changed. So that you're right. So the first scan is usually large. In fact, our scanner does about 10 devices at a time. It takes about 20 seconds for it to do a scan and then get that information back. But then if nothing's changed on that device, if the devices remain the same, then yes, each subsequent scan should be smaller and smaller.
What about if it's agentless?
That I might have to get back to you on. I believe once we've done a scan, though, we're smart enough to realize what's there and what's already there. So I don't think it does a rescan. But John, correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Well, I mean, what it does is with agentless, it does the same scan every time. The way that it integrates with Remedyforce is we don't pull all the detail that Joel went through, in the presentation today. We pull in, I think, there's I think 12 plus key fields that are pulled into the Remedyforce CMDB, and those are leveraged as reference so that if you want to dive into a deeper view of, say, listing all the software, listing detailed configuration information, that's a launching context back up to the discovery server. So we sort of efficiently pull in a limited set of information to be able to view in launching context.
So I guess if for agentless, then yes, it's going to rerun that scan, the lighter weight scan that John's talking about, those 12 items. If you have the agent scan, then it will become less and less over time because the agent only reports back when it does a scan. It only reports back the delta, anything that's changed.
Right.
So if this is Jeff.
One last question.
Go ahead.
One last question about that is, can we configure different scanners then based on like location?
Yes,
and
you can. Yep, you can define those differently as you see fit, as your organization needs those.
And how configurable are they? Like, how can we differentiate between, say, like mobile devices and desktops, things like that?
So, John, I'll let you handle this one, or I can.
Yeah, if you can go to the configuration page. So for each scanner that Joel's going to pull up here, I think in our example here, we just had one scanner. So the scan configuration tab, we've got the one scanner set up, but you could have up to 30 different scanners listed here. And each scanner, when you select that row down below here, you could identify the IP ranges, the platforms that you want to discover, what you don't want to discover, along with the credentials and the schedule. So it's very precise within each scanner as to exactly what you want to scan.
Right. And so to further clarify on that, if your mobile devices are within an IP range, then yes, you could have one scanner only for mobile devices. But we're limited by IP ranges, domains, or even specific to device names if you want to get down to that level. But we don't have much more ability to target a scanner beyond that.
And platforms too.
Sorry.
Yep.
Just one quick question, just to wrap it up. So say that we have a naming convention for mobile devices, right? Could we exclude them for one scan and add them to a different scan?
Yeah, if that'll take some work to configure the scanner to do that, but you could do that.
Great, thank you.
Yep. Jeff, you had a question?
Yeah, it was on the scan delta information. So does it retain, say if I do a scan on the first and then it does another scan on the 5th, does it retain the first set of information and the second set of information to tell me what's changed?
So you're asking, do we, when we do an agentless scan, so we did it on the 1st and we did one on the 31st, is it retaining or does it?
Well, no, it would be probably more agent-based because it's more granular.
Okay. So agent-based, yes, we do retain that information. We can show you what's been changed. Was RAM upgraded or was a hard drive changed? Did they install software during that time? Yes, we maintain that full history of that device information from all the scans, from when it becomes deployed to when you retire it.
Okay. Because if somebody tells me I didn't do anything, nope, nothing was done to that server.
Yeah, we can. Again, we're not monitoring. We're not monitoring software, so we're not telling you when that happened. But if you have your discovery set, scans set once a week, we could give you that range within the week or within the month when it happened.
Yeah. Okay.
I know we're coming up on time, and first of all, I want to thank Joel for the presentation. I also want to just put a little plug in there for anybody that's in the New York City area. We have our exchange event, BMC Exchange event, next Thursday, October 12th. I'll be there presenting on Remedyforce and on this topic. So some of this will be repetitive from what Joel covered, but I'll be there all day. So if anyone's interested in diving deeper or having any other discussions around Remedyforce, we'd welcome you guys to attend.
John, I'll see you next week.
Great. All right, anything else, Joel?
No, I just thank you, everybody, for your time and for letting me present to you guys this morning. I appreciate that.
All right, appreciate it.
Great. Everybody, thank you once again, and have a great day.